Hey guys, this is Tarot with Kittens, Weights, and Tarot, and today is a subscriber requested video on how I became a professional tarot reader, and if I have any tips or tricks or ways to build self-confidence and all of that. So I hope that my story is able to help you somehow. So let's go ahead and jump into it. So first I want to talk a little bit about feeling like you're ready. There are some people out there who feel that, because they are, of a certain age, that means that maybe they aren't qualified enough to become a tarot reader. And yes, I have heard this before. And first of all, when we talk about age, age doesn't necessarily make somebody wise or better than somebody else. Yes, oftentimes with age comes experience, lessons learned, and things like that. But there are plenty of people who are much older. I'm thinking of some of the people in my family who I wouldn't consider wise just because they're older. So just kind of keep that in mind that, age doesn't necessitate being at the top of your game. Yes, years of experience and learning from those experiences does make one pretty good at what they do. Let's take my muggle job, for example. I'm a high school teacher. There are teachers who have been teaching for a really long time. They're in their late 50s, early 60s. Some of them are in their 70s. Maybe should retire. And they're really good at what they do, but that's because they've made mistakes, they've learned from their mistakes. They are always looking for different ways to connect with their students. The whole key there is making connections with their students so their students can learn from them. There are also plenty of teachers who are same age, late 50s, early 60s, late 60s, 70 years old, who are horrendous teachers. The students have a hard time learning anything from them because they've been teaching the exact same way since they were 23 years old, having learned nothing along the way, having learned nothing from their mistakes. So just kind of keep that in mind when you're thinking, maybe I have to be a certain age. You could be 23 years old, but are you putting yourself out there so that, by out there, I mean, in tarot reading terms, practicing on friends, on family, and learning along the way, trying to take, how people are understanding your messages that you're giving. Are they having a hard time understanding you? Do you have to start explaining things in the way you're trying to connect to your clientele, the people that you're reading for, just like teachers have to learn to connect to their clientele, which is their students. So it's all about connection, getting the message across, the point across in a manner that the person who's being read for can understand that message, they take in that message, and then they can do with it what they want. And that's what I believe makes a good reader, is not only somebody who's able to interpret that information, but also to convey it in a certain way so that the person being read for understands, that message that's coming through for them. Because in the end, we're just the interpreters. We're just interpreters of information. We're just here to deliver the message. But we have to deliver it in a way that, number one, it won't be off-putting for the person being read for, won't be sugar-coated so that they don't really get the message at all, and makes sense to them. So that was, that's my little ditty on age, basically. The next thing is something else that comes up is money. People seem to have a hard time charging for what they do. And there's this, I don't even know where this saying came from, and even one of my good friends, he used to be one of my vocal instructors, I sing me some opera, and he said that if somebody had the gift, he was referring to psychic ability, if somebody has the gift, they would never charge, they would do it for free. And I had issue with that, and I said, listen, we'll call him Dave. Dave, would you consider yourself gifted in music? And he says, well, of course. He was like, he went to Juilliard, he seriously did. He's been playing piano since he was like 5 years old. He's been singing since he came out of his mother's womb. He's got a wonderful tenor voice. And I would consider him very gifted. And he says, of course I'm gifted. He says, I've been playing music since I was just an embryo. And I said, well then, Dave, if you really had the gift, you would do it for free. And he was like, I beg your pardon? He says, do you know how hard I had to study and how much I work at my craft and what I do? He goes, I'm constantly, I'm surrounding myself with music and I'm playing music all the time. And I said, but Dave, it is a gift, so you should do it for free. And he says, absolutely not. And I said, well then, should what I do, because it's a gift, be done for free? And he went, well, I've actually never thought of it that way. And I said, you're a surgeon. I think surgeons have a gift for what they do. Not everybody can be a brain surgeon, let's say. I said, should that brain surgeon do what they do for free? Because they have to be awfully skilled at it, yes. And, they have to there's a lot of schooling. They're constantly surrounding themselves in education so that they can get better at what they do. But I don't think what they should do for free. Think of all the other gifted people out there, all those people that are really good in their specific areas. And I don't take, tarot reading as something that's completely different from any of those things. People could be gifted at singing, people could be gifted at art, people could be gifted writers. But just because they have a gift doesn't mean that they should do it for free. I have a quick story that my dude had told me, and he had to actually refresh my memory because I want to make sure I get everything correct. But he said that there is this this spiritual person named Ramdam, and he wanted to teach these seminars, but he says, my education, my knowledge that I have to give to the people, I shouldn't charge for that, because it's important knowledge and it's stuff that people should learn. Education should be free. And so he held these seminars, and they were free. He didn't charge for them. And there were some people that, came into the seminars, and this is something that you guys can look up online, by the way. People came into the seminars, and some would be talking during, basically he's giving all this spiritual knowledge. Then people are talking during it. Some would walk in and stand at the door. Some came in for 10 minutes and then they left, right in the middle of him talking. And attendance was really poor. And he couldn't figure it out. He says, what I have to teach is, and there were a lot of people respected him, they loved him. So why was it that they wouldn't stay for what it is they have to say? If you love this person and you admire this person, why wouldn't you stay for their spiritual teachings? And somebody pulled Ramdam off to the side and they said, you need to charge at least $1, and people will listen. And he was like, but my whole thing is that this spiritual knowledge should be free. And they said, well, the thing is, people don't value it. There's no value in it. And people, just psychologically, the way things are, people value money. And if you charge $1, I guarantee you will fill this room. And so that's what he did. He started charging $1. People started coming in. And although it was a nominal amount, it now made their time with him worth something. His knowledge was now worth something, even if it was just $1. And so people were respectful, attendance was great, and people stayed for the entire thing. Nobody left early. And so, I think that that's just a great lesson in, also talking about, money and what you do. That I have done plenty of readings for friends and family where, I don't charge them. and it'll just be, these quick readings, and it'll be like, wow, they're, oh, this is so great, so cool. And then, I don't know, and then it's like, they totally blow off everything that I said because there was no, value put into the reading that I did for them. There was no energetic exchange, basically. I gave them something, but they didn't have to give me anything in return. I mean, they had to pay attention, sort of, but they were kind of paying attention, kind of not. And these are like friends and family who like, I really need a reading on this, and I'm like, okay. And then it's like they're only half listening. It's like, dude, I thought you came to me because you're whatever, got this burning desire to know this answer to something, but they're only half listening. And that's because they didn't have to give anything for it. Therefore it's like, okay, I'm kind of half listening. There's no value in the reading. And then I guarantee, like 10 minutes later, they forgot everything that I said, even though I was pouring my heart and soul into their entire reading. So kind of keep that in mind also. If you want to start charging for readings, it's okay to charge a small amount at first, but I wouldn't say to, okay, so let's talk a little bit about like the market and that. And I wouldn't consider myself like super into marketing and all that. Actually, I'm not into marketing. My dude was the one that was a business and marketing major, hence why I kind of know this stuff. I mean, we've been together I've known him for like 20 years now, so this stuff is kind of rubbed off a little bit. But he says, basically, if, when you're starting off, let's say for a tarot reader, I started off just charging a small amount. I actually looked online, I looked at all these different tarot readers, and I was looking at what they were charging. I didn't feel that yet. I didn't really have the confidence yet. I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and I knew that unless I started charging, people wouldn't take my readings seriously, hence my friends and family. I'm giving them all these readings, but they don't care about anything that I'm saying. I mean, they kind of care. And they were like, oh, wow, you're so spot on. Thanks. It's like, oh wow, I'm so spot on all these things, but thanks. Like, they didn't really care because, again, there wasn't that exchange. So I was like, okay, well, I don't feel like I can charge these prices that these tarot readers are doing yet, but I'll charge just underneath that. So like, let's say everybody was charging $20 for a reading, I would do $10. Just kind of starting off. I kind of want to build my confidence. But as I was starting off, and I did this for probably about 6 months, I asked people, if you get a reading from me, if you could please just give me feedback, positive or negative, I'll take any feedback. Is there, a way that I could have conveyed the information differently? And I had to drop my ego, and I took in that information, and I desperately needed those emails. And I love that all those people were willing to give me that feedback, because it made me a much better tarot reader. Then when I started feeling more confident about, like, okay, what I'm doing is actually, it's making connections with all of these people. It really is. How could I be like 100% of the time making connections with all these people if there wasn't something to it? And plus, I was getting feedback on how to be a better reader, and I was like, yes, thank you. So then after those 6 months, I was like, you know what? I feel like I should probably be charging more than I am. So then, I upped the prices on my website. But also with like the marketing stuff, my boyfriend has always said, because he's an independent contractor, he owns his own business. He says that, the price you set is only, can only go as high or as low as the market will bear. Meaning that, if you charge exorbitant amounts of money to be a tarot reader, you can say, like, my readings, they're like, I don't know, $300 readings. But if the market won't bear $300 readings, nobody's going to buy a reading. So you really have to really do a little bit of homework and look at what other readers are charging. And if they're all not charging anywhere near $300, you cannot charge $300. But also, if everybody, like the average, cost is about $1 a minute, let's say a 30-minute reading's $30 or $35 or something like that, you also don't want to lowball all the other readers out there. Lowballing would be like, well, I don't want to charge too much, so I'm going to do $15 readings for 30 minutes. And then that actually hurts people's industries, what they do, whether they're a doctor, or they are a lawyer, or they are a teacher, or they are a tarot reader. You don't want to lowball your own industry, because then people are like, oh, well, I can get a 30-minute reading for $15 from this person. Why the heck is this person charging 40? Because then it makes it difficult for all the other people in your industry. And we're not supposed to be competing with each other. We're all supposed to be working together. Just like teachers, nobody's trying to, fight all the other teachers to be like number one teacher so that you're like the sole teacher. We're all meant to work together. I know that I'm not the tarot reader for everybody. And so it's awesome that there are so many other tarot readers that people could visit that will be for them. So we're not in competition with each other. We're all in this together to help people, and so also keep that in mind, that if you're wanting to become a professional tarot reader, why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you want to make money? Or are you doing it because you genuinely want to help people? And if you genuinely want to help people, number one, you have to make it worth their time. You're going to maybe have to ask for some feedback from them so that you can improve upon your skills. And you have to have a joy for what it is that you do. And also remember that it's an energetic exchange. If you're giving somebody a lot of your time, an hour's worth of your time, you're going to have to feel compensated for that hour's worth of time. If it totally wipes you out like it does me, when I'm doing some deep readings, like 30 minutes, 1 hour or more, I'm starving afterwards. I'm thirsty. I'm dizzy. I need to go lay down. Like, it takes physically a lot out of me. And if I were to be like, whew, like I am wiped out for the rest of the day, I'm so glad I charged $10. Like, is that really worth $10? So you have to think about how much it is that you're giving and what do you feel would be a fair amount in return. And so don't think of it as, well, I don't want to like steal people's money or something like that. You're not taking people's money. You're not stealing people's money, because you're giving them something. Number one, you're giving them a lot of something. And so it's an energetic exchange. Okay, so like I was saying before, when I first started off, I just started off reading for friends and family. And I did ask them to give me feedback, but it was also very frustrating because they weren't taking the readings as seriously as I hoped they would, because they didn't really have to pay for them. And then, I started charging about 50 to 75% of what other people that I saw were charging online. And then I was also just asking, because the price was lower, I also asked for tons of feedback. So in essence, that energetic exchange kind of, it equaled out, because although I was getting less physical money, I was gaining also tons of knowledge in order for me to improve upon what I did. So the person got a reading from me, and in exchange, I got a little bit of money, but I also got a lot of knowledge on how to get better. And so for me, that was equal. It was equal to what other readers were getting in terms of, let's say somebody was getting $20 for a reading and I was only charging $10, but I also got knowledge. So to me, that was kind of like getting $20 for a reading or even more. And so then, like I said, as I built my confidence, that's when I upped my prices to just about what everybody else is doing, and just kind of trying to keep it in there, because, I also want to make sure that, the industry that I'm in, I don't want to hurt the other readers in my industry by charging too low or charging too high. And that's like any industry, the healthcare industry, the educational industry, the artists industry, the opera industry, all of that. And so, yeah, and that's kind of just where I am at now. I don't consider myself to be, perfect. I'm still learning. I still, until the day I die, I'm still going to be learning. And then it'll be even more learning after I die. But it's continual just learning. I think that's when you stop learning, you stop improving, and that's not a good thing. So I always consider myself a perpetual student. Yes, I am willing to teach people, but I'm willing to teach you what I know so far, but that's not to say that that's the end all be all. There are people that, are older than me who, again, it's not necessarily age, but they're older than me, but they've also learned a lot along the way. They've been improving. And so, and I learned from those people, as well. So anyway, I hope this helps you out. And also, I want to be honest that every time I do a reading, and I do at least a few readings a week, I still, I do ask for feedback. I say, hey, thank you so much for grabbing a reading for me. Please let me know how this connected with you. If it connects with you in the future, please let me know. And I really do value their feedback, because there's still that little small part of me that's like, what if you totally just messed that up? What if you totally just didn't connect? What if that was just so random, they have no idea what it is that you were saying? And I've never had a reading where they didn't understand what I was saying. Like, literally have never had a reading where they didn't understand what I was saying. I mean, they may not have understood 100% of what I was saying, but at least they got the parts that were probably most important from that reading for them. I just hope this helps. If you have any comments or questions, place that down below. But like I said, I'm not perfect. I still get nervous about readings. But I just have to, my need to want to help people is greater than my fear of making mistakes. So, and I think that that's just something we all need to work on. We're always going to have fear of failure, fear of being wrong, but your desire to help people and your desire to help someone help themselves should be greater than your fear of making a mistake, or your fear of failure, let's say. And it should be that if I fail or if I make a mistake, that's okay, because I'm going to pick myself back up. I'm going to try again, because my desire to help people is outweighing this desire or this fear of being wrong. So I'm not going to stay down. I'm not going to, sulk forever, because my number one goal is to help people. And that's me. That's my number one goal as a tarot reader. I don't know what everybody else's, I'm pretty sure that's everybody else's goal though too. So anyway, okay, I rambled. That's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, if you have any comments or questions, place that down below. So anyway, if you dug this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to click subscribe, and don't forget to click that ding, ding, ding notification bell for more videos just like this. And if you want to catch a reading from me, head over to www.kittensweetsandtarot.com. Not only do I have a plethora of readings, but I have my bracelets that I make, my room of body sprays, my salves, my travel witch altar pendants. I have ancestral altar pendants, rainbow bridge altar pendants. I have my Wally's World Oracle, which is community created and community funded. I have a mystery school, which will be opening soon. Leon Mystery School. So stay tuned for details. There is a page on my website that is dedicated to the school. So if you want more details, just make sure you keep your eye on that page. All right. So I'm so excited about that. So if you want to throw a little love my way, think about joining the KWT tribe over at patreon.com/kittensweetsandtarot. It's actually my patrons that are also helping me with the creation of that school. So thank you to all of my patrons who are the support of Kittens, Weights, and Tarot. All right. I will catch you spiritual homies later. Peace, love, and chicken grease. Peace out.